Okay, good evening, everybody. Let us begin. Okay, I want to take some of what we've been learning in the last few weeks to the next step. If you're new here tonight, that's totally fine. New with us online, that's totally fine. Hello to you all, wherever you are in the world. If you want more of these classes, you can check out elevationproject.global, elevation.global. You can check out our timeline on Facebook. You can check out our YouTube. If people are watching online would like to make a donation, you can, I think at the moment you can use payments at thesongbegins.com. You can use that at PayPal to make a donation towards the class, if you can, if you're able to. There's something I want to do tonight. It's something we do much more extensively in the Elevation Mastery Program, the Elevation Seminars, like I always seem to say at the beginning, but what I'm trying to do here is just facilitate an introduction to different people. It's better to step into things, try explore things they may not have experienced before. A taste test, if you will, to know what's out there or what's in here. So I want to look at tonight something which is deeply, deeply misunderstood. One of the most misunderstood things in all of Torah and all of Judaism and all of religion. It's a big statement. I mean, for sure the most misunderstood thing is God. God's for sure the most misunderstood thing. What we mean when we say those three little words. What we mean, what we don't mean, etc. But right after the concept of God being deeply misunderstood, there's something even more radically misunderstood, and that is the concept of Emunah, which is poorly translated, but just to get a handle on it, just the concept of Emunah, which is the concept of faith. Right after how disastrously for society we misunderstand the concept of God, we equally misunderstand the concept of faith, and can make such a brave statement. If the world understood what God really meant, then and understood what faith really meant, then in truth there wouldn't be any more wars, there wouldn't be any more pain, there wouldn't be any more challenges, suffering in the individual lives and the lives of the cloud. The whole of us, all of us, the united soul of all of us. And on a basic level, just saying what the holy works say of our tradition, if you knew what faith was, you wouldn't have any more problems in your life. Now, there's different meanings of what it means not to have problems. The first definition is, and I can't go into it now, it's a little too theoretical for this class, though we hope to talk about it in other times. The first thing is the problems that you have will not be troublesome to you. Your issues in life are not the problems that you have, but often the reactions that you have to the problems that you have, which are more often than not worse, more catastrophic psychologically and practically than the problem itself. The problem itself is a logistical challenge that you can either A, do something about, or B, not do anything about. But it's usually our psychological response, the panic, the fear, the anxiety, and all those kind of things, the depression, the ego, all the things that that come up within us that resist the hashgacha, that don't accept what's happening, that are panicked about what's happening, and all those things put our consciousness into exile. They send us into Egypt. They send us out of a state called Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. They send us into a place of exile, of constrictive consciousness, and we can't act from the best of who we are, bring our most resourceful self to the table. So on a basic level, when a person has faith or a person doesn't have faith, then they're constantly overwhelmed by the challenges of life, and just life in general is overwhelming, right? So if a person has faith, they have the resources, they have the strength, they have the confidence, they have the resilience, they have the light and clarity on a basic level, supernatural level, to face obstacles, to overcome obstacles, to find joy even if they can't overcome obstacles, etc. So in that way you have no more troubles if you have faith. But the deeper thing, which is one of the deepest ideas in all Torah that we discuss in Elevation 5, and we experience this, and I just mentioning right now as an introduction, is that when a person has faith and the problems are no longer troubling to them, then Hashem no longer has to send them those troubles. And that happens on a personal level, an individual level, happens on a national level, happens on a global level. So what is this faith we're supposed to have? What is this Emunah we're supposed to have? Faith is not a dogmatic belief. I am religious, so I have faith. It's something that I always say, it's supposed to be psychologically helpful. It's supposed to be of benefit to you that you have faith. It's not an excuse to berate others that they don't have faith and you do have faith. Faith is a resource that brings you peace and joy and blessing in life. Faith is a resource that brings you peace and joy and blessing in life. And if the faith that you have is not bringing you peace and joy and blessing in life, it could be that the faith that you have is not real faith. In fact, the mystics discuss the difference between faith of Kedusha, Emunah de Kedusha, and Emunah de Sitra Achra, faith which is fallen faith, which feels like faith, that you think is faith, that makes you feel religious or spiritual or something, but it actually is destructive personally, psychologically, and destructive globally. I'm sure we can all think out there in the world of people that think they're being very religious and causing great destruction in the name of their God, in the name of their religion. Unfortunately, we don't have to look so far away sometimes to see some of that happening. And we all like to think, well, they're the fanatics of the world. But we all have that in our own way. We all have things that we have faith in, that we bought into the dogma of, that is destroying us and destroying sometimes our family and ourselves and psychologically and the world around us. So it's so important this generation rediscovers true faith. What is faith? What is the faith that is the true source of Torah? The foundation of all the Torah, our sages teach us, is faith. If you had to boil down, the Gemara itself says all of Tarek mitzvahs, all of 613 mitzvahs, what's the thing it all comes down to? That a person lives by their faith. If you look at our faith in the dictionary, faith in the average dictionary, go online, search for faith, dictionary.com, whatever they say, the Merriam-Webster's and all these places, they always give a variant of the same theme, which is to believe in something with no logical evidence that thing is true. But you believe anyway, you have faith anyway. Which basically means, by that definition, by the standard dictionary definition, that anyone that believes in faith or has faith is an idiot. That's what it means. Why would anyone choose to believe in something that had no evidence or no proof? It's not reasonable, it's not rational, it's not healthy, and you could understand why people say faith, religious faith is the cause of so much destruction of the world. They believe that if they do this act of violence, then they will die and they will be blessed with all these things of the world to come, and that's why they're willing to hurt people. So now you understand why your faith is a four-letter word, right? That's what it is. Give or take a couple of letters. It's a terrible thing. It's a destructive thing. So I want to examine a little tonight, as much as we can in a brief session, the definition of faith. What is faith truly? To understand it from a Hasidic perspective, and remember, the rule is that when we're learning Hasidus in these sessions, we're not learning Hasidus, we're not learning something that one religious man said 300 years ago, and he had some students and they say that, as opposed to what the Musa people said, as opposed to what the Gemara said. Hasidus serves no purpose as another path within itself. It wasn't just supposed to be another religious doctrine that you could wear this hat or this furry hat or this long thing on Shabbos, or you can have round bits here or not round bits here and another path. What Chassidus was supposed to be is a gilui, a revelation of the soul behind the Torah. And what that means in everyday language is it's supposed to be how Torah and mitzvahs, and more than Torah mitzvahs, all of reality opens up to be a living revelation of divinity. And if you step into that and experience that and live by that, then you understood what Chassidus is. And if Chassidus became just a cultural thing, and more dogma and more details and more chumras, then it's the opposite of what the Baal Shem Tov intended when he built the project in the first place. So when I'm showing you now how they defined Emunah a little, even just for a few minutes, really we're here, always remember, not for the theory, just to step into the experience, but I always try and give it an introduction to get us into the right state of mind, the right basic understanding. The Baal Shem Tov's definition of Emunah, which the Tzaddikim discuss, and the Baal Tanya discusses, and Rav Nachman discusses, and the Moinaim discusses, and the Shoshelia discusses, all these Tzaddikim discuss and break down, and there's one basic key understanding. They're not giving you another definition. As they themselves taught, they're revealing the secret core, the secret base, the soid behind everything that was taught from Jewish tradition throughout all of history. This, as they said, is the key, and if you have the key, then you get everything that's said in the Gemara, everything that's said in the Mishnah, everything that's said in the Zohar, you get it all. And if you don't have this key, then you can get it all, but you won't have it all. So, their definition of Emunah, and again, when if you've heard me teach classes on this, I go extensively through many makoros. I'm just looking at one little simple thing, enough to get us into the meditational state, what it's talking about. I'm going to just read a little tonight out of Likutei Eitzos by Rav Nachman, really by Rav Nassan, his main student, to understand the Breslov approach. But the Breslov is perhaps one of, if not the most pure, true expressions of the path of the Baal Shem Tov. And it's a very powerful insight just to go to the core. Many times I teach classes straight from the Baal Shem Tov on this and many other tzaddikim, but tonight it's in front of us and this is what we're going to stick to right now. Ika ha'geula tului be'emunah. Rav Nachman says in the section of Emunah in Likutei Eitzos, Torah Aleph, the Ika of the Geula is Tului B'Emunah, the Ika of redemption, of the final revelation, where the whole world will achieve perfected, elevated consciousness, and there'll be no more war or suffering or pain, is all based on Emunah. That thing that I said at the beginning, I'm just quoting with Nachman. It's all based on Emunah. Ki Ika ha'golos eino ela bishvil chesron Emunah. The reason we are in exile today, the reason we celebrate in our city when Donald Trump says, yes, Jerusalem is your capital. Thank you, Donald Trump, for being so nice, for telling us my capital. Now I've got permission to be joyful. Is because we're in exile. And I'm afraid to say Jerusalem is my capital because then these people get angry. And then they'll get angry, but it is. But it has been for 70 years. It has been because I'm in exile. But there's exile of majority of Jews today, statistical majority of Jews not even knowing, not even caring about their own heritage as Judaism, even knowing the depth of their heritage in Judaism. And exile is the capacity for every individual as well, not just a global phenomena, a geographical phenomena, but the exile means that we're exiled from our own consciousness. Exile means to become disconnected from one's core self, from one's core power, to forget one's core self, one core power. It means to fall into the forgetfulness of time, of fear, of lust, of ego, of success, of money, of jobs, of business, of broken relationships, to be distracted by the internet. That's all exile. It means I've fallen away and lost contact from my true self, my true place. It means displacement, psychological, spiritual displacement, and it means geographical displacement. The reason we have that in the world is because we lack Emunah. He goes on to say in the second Torah, Emunah, Tefillah, V'nisim, V'ha'eretz Yisrael, Heim B'chinas Achas. Faith and prayer and miracles and living in Eretz Yisrael and the power, the energetic power of the land of Israel, they're all the same aspect, the same property. Kulam Tuliyim Zeh B'zeh, which is all Emunah. Each one, prayer is Emunah. I want you to hold that in mind because we're going to have a prayer experience tonight, which is empowered by Emunah. V'nissim and miracles, because when we pray with faith, then we see miracles and we cause miracles. And on a deeper level, we have to understand the relationship between these two. Between these three. And Eretz Israel is also this idea as well. These are all places, these are all states whereby we access the spiritual reality so potently that it transforms the physical reality that surrounds it. That's what the definition of faith is on this level. Faith is accessing an experience, a state, an understanding, but a direct contact with a spiritual soul power within us, which is so potent, it transforms the rest of my psychological state in real time. Prayer is exactly that. It's a voda shebelev. I access Deveikus, and it transforms my midas, it transforms my body, it transforms my fears. Nissim, what is the definition of a nes? It's when God is revealed in nature, in reality. It's when the higher world reveals itself and transforms and guides the lower world. You see how they're all the same bechina, the same aspect, the same relationship. For Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael means in Eretz Yisrael we know as the letters Yasha Keil, of direct to God. The word Yisrael literally means direct divine revelation and experience. That's what it really means. It's an amazing thing. That's our name. That's our name. And Eretz means ground, the physicality. It means the place that resists divine revelation. So we are the physical reality which itself reveals revelation and connection. Like faith reveals that in my life. Like prayer is when I step out of my life and into a higher place and I feel that experience of that. That's what Nisima, where high reality is revealed in the physical world. That's when we say, wow, that's supernatural. That's a miracle. Miracle means according to the laws of nature that could never happen. So there's a greater light which is at this core of nature. The energetic core of the physical properties reality, which overrides the programming of nature and then reveals itself through that. That is the aspect of faith. That is the aspect of prayer. That is the aspect of miracles. That is the aspect of Eretz Yisrael. So what is faith on a basic level? What's the basic definition of faith? Does anyone have a basic definition of faith that they use? You probably know it's important. You look more or less like religious people. I don't know what that means either. You've probably heard that faith is a good thing. It's one of those mitzvahs. It's a big mitzvah. You probably know you don't have enough faith. Maybe someone's told you, you have to have more faith. Maybe you can get that on Amazon, order it online. How do you define faith? Does anyone have a definition to share with us? Yes, sir.
It's the input of energy into a relationship with God.
The input, when you put your own energy into a relationship with God, that's how you see it? That's a very interesting definition. I've never heard that before. How would you explain that? Like in life. In life, I'm going through a challenge, and someone says, have faith, or be mechazik in Emunah. So let's see how you talk that out. It's very interesting.
So if you're going through some challenge, actually taking some of your own consciousness and sitting down and trying to connect to God.
So you sit down, you try and connect to God. If trying to connect to God is what helps you overcome challenge. Good. I appreciate the definition. Very nice. I'm not interested in right or wrong right now. We're just sharing our experience, sharing our wisdom, sharing what we've picked up. We'll refine and bring these together, explore them shortly. Yes, sir?
Faithfulness.
Faithful to, this is the classic one, we've all heard this line. Yeah, talk this out first.
Being faithful to something that you know is true.
Right.
So, also known as like loyalty.
Loyalty and faithfulness to the truth. Faith does not mean to believe in something for no reason. Faith means to be true to that thing, even when all the resistance of the world comes at me. This is a definition we've learned a few times. Rabbi Tatz teaches this wonderful definition. He brings down the famous Rambam and Moen Nevuchim about the person walking through the forest at night, sees the lightning strike and gets clarity, how to get home, but then it goes dark and they have to stay true in the light, look for the truth, in the dark, stay true to the light. Things we've taught many times before. And then they get through on faith. So my challenge with that definition, obviously, it's part of the truth. But my challenge is, it's easier said than done. And the challenge is, how do you do that? Let's say I'm going through a tremendous challenge, God forbid, in my life. And I'm very overwhelmed physically, emotionally, intellectually. I'm very overwhelmed logistically. And everything's turning against me. Be faithful to the truth. But I feel so panicked and overwhelmed and hurt and angry. I can't be. I don't want to be. Have faith. So saying have faith doesn't help me. So I think there's a truth in that, but I think we misunderstand that, right? Sometimes I'm always afraid of beautiful devators that almost define themselves in a way that are inaccessible. I'm not saying that does, but what I want to push is how do we learn to be faithful to the truth? The truth is, faith is really a verb. Faith is a mechanism of consciousness that allows us to access the capacity to be faithful. But we put it like a noun, like it's something I need to understand, and something I need to define, and something I have a great Devar Torah on. But we don't realize that when everything in the world comes against you, nouns don't help you. You're looking for something to do. Have faith. You need to faith. What are you doing? I'm faithing, right? But it really does need to be like that, because it's supposed to be a resource. It is the definition by our sages of what we do when challenges come at us. Then I have to faith. And it's supposed to bring me out of exile. It's supposed to bring me joy. All this what I'm saying. Faith connects to my joy in life, the blessing in life. To find peace during challenge. Why do you find peace during challenging times? Because you have faith. So what is that faith thing that I need to do? That Emunah I need to do. So that's interesting. So we're not disagreeing. We're saying that's in there, but how do we put that together? Any other definitions of faith people care to share? Yes.
My opinion is I think it's like complete trust.
So we're defining that faith is trust. How would you talk that out for us?
But as in the verb of trusting.
The verb of trusting, right.
That that there is a creator and that everything that occurs in the world and in our lives is happening for a reason.
Right. So I'm going to challenge what you're saying, only really to rebuild it, right? The basic use of the word Emunah means to trust. What are you trusting in? That there's a creator, there's Hashem, that Hashem loves me, that Hashem made everything and is making everything, and there's a real-time interaction. Therefore, this bad thing that looks like bad is really good, and I have to trust in it. But I can't. Because I'm so angry. If you would know what they did to me. I'm so pained. I'm so physically sick. I can't trust it. And it's causing me so much grief. You tell me God did that, so God's doing that to me. How can I trust in such an abusive being?
I don't think I'm saying...
I don't think you're saying that. I don't think you're saying that at all, right? So what I'm doing is we're exploring the words, right? I don't think, because what I'm going to show you is exactly what you're saying are right, but we're lacking the verb part. We've got the noun part now. Faith is our capacity to trust that there's a creative source constantly generating everything, that loves us, that is conscious, that is with us. It's absolutely true, and he's in everything all the time, and he cares for us, and this terrible thing is really for the good. Now, I don't know you at all. I don't know your life experience. I don't know your journey. But I bet you've had a couple of really bad moments in your life. Imagine I came up to you as an ultra-Orthodox rabbi and said, oh, just have faith.
No, but I think what I would say is like to trust that you're supposed to be feeling those things. Like,
That you're supposed to be feeling what?
even the bad. Like, we are even supposed to be feeling like the pain and the bad.
We're supposed to be feeling pain. Some people get so caught in the pain, they never come out. Trust is that people are going to get upset by this in a very highly emotionally sensitive generation. But Emunah ultimately is that you don't feel the pain. That really is the definition. Wow, the women are very taken aback by that. And the men are like, great, let's do it. Let's repress those emotions. I'm like, no, let's feel those emotions. Let's repress those. That's why I'm in the middle of the mechitza, because I have to try and create a balance now between both these sides. There's a process on the way to healing where we acknowledge pain, absolutely. But that's not the goal. It's not the goal. You can acknowledge something and be caught in it. There's a way to acknowledge intense negative emotion in a way that we seek to release it and heal it. So I want to interrupt. There was one more person that wanted to say, yes, sir.
Through analyzing the root of the word Emunah,
Yes.
you have Aleph, Mem, and Nun,
Yes, you do.
which is also the root of the word for a coach and an artist. So I would say that Emunah is where your you're crafting yourself and you're coaching yourself into such a lifestyle in which you're building yourself from moment to moment, creating the self, and
So the root of the word of Emunah is the word for a craftsman, an artisan. And that's really what I'm saying about the verb. That it implies that there's work of building and refining that has to be done. But it is not yet built, it is not yet defined what that work is. And until we can define what is the work of Emunah, and when you're going through difficult emotional times, intellectually negating emotions is not helpful. Telling yourself there's a God and therefore shut up and quit complaining and being upset is not helpful. So I want to tell you, teach you, show you how the Kabbalists and the Hasidim defined Emunah as an experience, and their philosophy about that a little bit. There's so many amazing classes doing that theoretically, but I just want to give you enough to then introduce you a little to the experience. Can anyone think in your own life right now, something you're going through that's overwhelming? A challenge that you're dealing with, physically, emotionally, politically, with family, in the office, in your own inner world, your life decisions, that's best not to think too much about. Because if you enter too much about that, it just becomes overwhelming. Hands up if you have one of them. Hands up if you're made as a perfect angel and you don't have any of them at all. Excellent. You can give the rest of the class. I'll be sitting here taking notes. I mean, given the war zone around us right now, people declaring, millions of people declaring they're out to get us right now, this week, tonight, tomorrow. So, if you're not feeling some concern about that, I think you're not really plugged into the reality. At least not compassionately, at least not empathetically. We all like to say, I have faith in Hashem, until we're actually confronted by reality, then we run away screaming. It's very easy to be sitting on a comfy couch in front of your TV saying, I have faith Hashem will take care of the Jewish people in Eretz Israel. I'm glad someone else's kids are out there fighting on the front line, but I have faith Hashem will take care of it. It's another thing when your own kids are out there fighting on the front line, right? It's another thing when you're on the front line. Suddenly, there's concern. Suddenly, where did that faith go? The answer is it's not real faith. Faith is your capacity to directly confront challenge and to maintain that connection, that awareness, that deep, resonant feeling of love and safety and security, bitachon. So listen. Faith must be helpful. Faith must be a verb. It must be something that I know how to do that taps me into that faithfulness capacity. Of course faith means I know God controls everything, He made me, and I went to that philosophy class and I can give it all over. And I'm not saying you meant that, right? But faith must mean more than I know that God's controlling everything, because that's useless. Because when I'm emotionally overwhelmed and angry and frustrated and hurt, and you know what that person did to me, I can't believe it, God controls everything, He's controlling this. Thanks very much. Punch him in the face. Now let me go back to my panic. So what am I supposed to do? Because faith is fundamentally a resource state. Now listen very carefully to this. So we've begun with those two Torahs from Rav Nachman. The basic definition of faith, as it's usually given over, right, is when you know something, but it's not reasonable, rational. That's what I just dismissed from all those dictionaries, right? But the truth is that there is a way that sometimes, even though your intellect cannot explain something, you just know it's true. And you can say, yeah, but they're being a little delusional, they're using their imagination, they're caught in their demurriness, right, etc., right? But there's another time when it's not that, and you really just know it to be true. The term we'd probably use in a secular sense, which is validated, is the concept called intuition. Intuition is not something we define as unreasonable or delusional or religious wishful thinking. It's not dogmatic, I just believe it's true. It's a sense. It's a sense. It's a sense that you see many times actually comes to fruition. And some of the most talented people in the world, not just creatively, but the business world, have profoundly strong intuitions. That means when the market is dropping, And everyone sell, sell, sell. They're like, no, don't sell. Hold on, it's going to turn around. How do you know? Because I have faith that God creates the world. Yeah, but God may not want you to make a lot of money now. He may want to lose anything. But I sense what's going to happen here. And give me a proof. Give me a proof why we shouldn't sell. Oh, look, the market stopped. Oh, look, it turned around. Oh, look, it soared back up. Oh, look how many people lost a lot of money. How did you know? You see, that's not something which we call religious dogma or rational thinking. The concept that women have, women's intuition, the concept of being a Yitzhak is not just acknowledged in the Torah, it's acknowledged by anyone with their eyes open. Emunah begins with, for lack of a better term, but it's a perfectly good way, an intuitive sense. Rav Nachman says in Torah Dalet, in Likutei Eitzes, just reading a small portion at the end of this wonderful Torah, he says, "I efshar levoi la'emunah ki im al yedei emes." You need to come to faith. You need to also have intellect. He says you cannot get to faith without being smart and intellectual, because he says in this Torah that faith begins at the end of knowledge. So the assumption of how a person gets to faith is not like, I'm so stupid I believe in anything. You tell me there's a God, okay, I believe it. Tell me you have to strap these things to your arm. Okay, I'll do that. How do you know it's true? I don't know it's true, but the guy gave me a free pizza and sushi when he told me to do it, so I'll buy anything, right? I'm in, right? It's not that. It's that I have to use my mind, I have to explore it, I have to understand it, I have to do the research, get the understanding down, and then when I've got the full parameters of my full capacity of intellectual understanding, right at that threshold, there's something else called faith, which he defines. You can read that whole Torah. But this is the key line I want to draw out. Ki al yedei staklis ala emes, ba'ayin emes. When a person looks at the truth, is there a God in the world? Intellectually, yes or no? It's an interesting answer, isn't it? Intellectually, yes or no? Is there a God in the world?
Yes.
Hands up if you say yes, intellectually. Hands up if you say no. Hands up if you say, with faith there's a God in the world. Hands up, with faith, Emunah, there's a God in the world. Okay, hands up, Emunah, there's no God in the world. No, that doesn't even work, right? There's no Emunah. So this is a very deep thing I just want to explore a little tonight. You're going to see that intellect builds faith, but faith builds intellect. That's what he's going to teach us right now. The first step is with faith. The second step is with the intellect. Faith is a craftsman, as we said the translation is, because faith builds and constructs intellect.
Can't it work the other way too?
It can and it does. It absolutely works the other way. Sometimes our intellect destroys our faith. Sometimes intellect overrides our intuition to our detriment. Sometimes we have faith in bad things, that's called fallen faith, and we create big monstrosities of intellectual belief systems and things which are just... We had faith in the wrong person, faith in the wrong president, faith in the wrong philosophy of life. He who makes a lot of money in Wall Street will be the most happy. Now, we're going, I don't believe in that, I believe in that. But you're all pursuing that dream to some degree, just to be able to afford the next iPhone upgrade, which for sure, if I get that, I will be happier. And I'm not, and I get it, and I'm not. But now I have to get the next one. That's why. So I'm having faith in the system which is not paying off for me. So there's many nuances here that we don't have time to explore tonight. Rav Nachman says, basic definition of faith, Ki al yedei histaklis ala emes ba'ayin emes. When a person really pierces the truth with true open eyes to really understand intellection, yavin merachok she'ha'emes hu kach. When he gets to the end of your capacity to understand, that then you have this sense from the truth. I looked at God, I saw, is there God, is there not a God? How do I understand the systems explanation of the world with God, without a God? I understand everything. How do I understand history? How do I understand science, the creation of reality? How do I understand the nature of the Jewish people? How do I understand all these things? I look with an open mind and search for the truth. And what a person finds at the end of the day is intellectually, it's borderline. Intellectually, I could say yes, I could answer those questions, but I suddenly sense, Yavin merachok, you know from like a distance, she'emes hu kach, that it is that way. When you get married to someone, how do you know you're supposed to marry someone? Some people I know, and some people I sense. Intellectually, couldn't there be a better girl out there? I guess that could be, but no, I'm being drawn towards this. You're an entrepreneur, and there's 25,000 startup possibilities, but you sense this is the zeitgeist, this is the time, this is the product right now. How do you know? I give you proofs for it, I can give you proofs against it, but this is what's compelling me right now. You can't understand it intellectually, but you sense it, that you know it to be true. So the basic definition of faith is an intuition of something that you know to be true. That means even when I'm going through, and this is not the end of what we're going to say, this is the beginning, even though I'm going through challenges in life, I sense that everything's for the good. I have a sense that I'm being guided. I have a sense that there's a blessing in this. This incredible, overwhelming challenge came down on me, and I never imagined it. It goes against everything I planned for next year. The relationship is all blown up, but I sense it's for the good. Here's the key factor I want you to focus on. The relevance of this intuitive sense is that it's psychologically helpful. That's the beginning of faith. What does that mean? It means that if I'm facing this unbelievable, overwhelming challenge, which brings up anger or fear or despair within me, and I say, I believe in God, but I'm still equally as angry or fearful and despair, that's not what we're defining as Emunah. That's just an intellectual piece of information that you have floating around your mind. What we're talking about, the minimum first level of faith, is that somehow the level of grief or fear, or anger, despair is mitigated, is lessened, because there's a sense within you as it's relatively speaking okay. It could be that completely eradicates the negative emotion. That's Emunah Shalema, which we'll talk about in a second, and how to get that, what's the verb to achieve that. Or it could be on a very budget level that you just feel crying and angry and sad, but you kind of have this baseline consciousness to come back to. And you just kind of feel, it's okay. I somehow have the capacity to smile through this situation. You understand what I'm saying? And how do you know it's not going to get worse? I have faith. I just sense that. Yeah, but you're buying into it. It's religious stuff. You buy, maybe it's going to get worse. You say, yeah, maybe it could. You're right. But intuitively, there's an awareness within me which trickles down into my feelings. And it placates them, if that's the right word. It soothes them a little. Could be by 2%, could be by 98%. Emunah Shalema is 100%. You hear what I'm saying? So that's the first definition of faith that all this time I'm going to say. It's a level of consciousness called intuition. That even though you can't explain it, it's a level of consciousness called intuition that comes into what's called the panemius of the lave, the inner aspect of the heart, resonates out, radiates out, and soothes and releases other intense emotional states. You got that? So that means that if you could access that state, you could draw on that state, then you could heal yourself of that pain, of that fear, of that ego, of that despair. The Baal Shem Tov couldn't say it clearer when he says, Emunah is Deveikus. And this is the second level of what we're going to discuss right now. The first level is a baseline intuition, for lack of a better word. Not just an intuition of, we use the word like intuition, like I know what's going to happen, right? I'm talking about the thing that you know is just that it's okay. This is exactly what I need. Not, I'm telling myself it's okay, it's exactly what I need, but that's energetically healing. It's energetic releasing. You get what I'm saying there? So that's the first. Now, where's that coming from? How do I increase that? Because that is the mitzvah of having Emunah. Because that baseline intuition is being sourced from, it's like a water that's coming in from the tap, that's dripping in, but if you trace that back, that goes back to a big dam. And before that big dam, it was in a big ocean. So when you go back, Emunah is Deveikus, says the Baal Shem Tov, says Rav Nachman, says all the Hasidic Sfarim. What does that mean? Deveikus is the supernatural higher consciousness state that we've been learning how to access for weeks. In the online programs, in the seminars, all of these things. Emunah is Deveikus. Deveikus is bechinas Chochmah. Chochmah is the state of supernatural oneness, unity, elevation, when you're united with your soul, where your soul is immersed in Hashem, and you feel flooded with light and clarity and infinite connection. So what's happening is there's your soul, there's the Shekhinah, there's the infinite light and presence, that we've done meditational states when you quieten your mind and you draw up to that light. That's what we've been doing for the last few months here in these classes. And in the Elevation Mastery Program, that's what we're learning how to do. And And when you get there, you experience that massive expansion, that light, that clarity, that supernatural connection, which every single one of us has the capacity to do. And then what happens is that stream of that light flows into you, and that's what's actually powering. That's the energy empowering that intuition. So when a person's living a holy life, a spiritually integrated life, right, with Torah and mitzvahs, what happens is they begin to access a little stream of that light, a little stream of that knowledge that you sense that Hashem is running in it. You look at your enemy's eyes, you sense, oh, this is somehow for the good and I'm safe. You sense this is going to turn out fine. Where's that coming to? You can source that state. And turn it on. And that's part of the verb, to re-access, to resource, to follow up back the stream, up to the dam where it came from, to see the expansive state. Emunah is Deveikus, and Deveikus is tefillah, says Rav Nachman. That the purpose of prayer is to enter into a state of absolute divine awareness, where you do his pashtas agashmis, you step out of your body, out of your limited mindsets, into expansive light, connection, infinite power, and then you see the truth. Then you directly experience Hashem as reality. It doesn't mean to believe that it's so. It means to directly experience that this is only the truth, and all those challenges are perfect for me, and everything's good, and everything's going to come. And then when you come back down to your mind, that you're feeling that. You're no longer in that place, but you're feeling that intuition, that knowledge, that light, and it's soothing and calming and elevating and soothing and calming. And you kind of go, I can handle this. It's not so bad. It's not the whole world's against me. It's just this one challenge. It's not, I'll never get out of this financial situation. Things will resolve. And you suddenly have the resources, the light, the warmth to be able to draw on to get there. You understanding that? So listen very carefully. The first is it's that intuition, that sense that it's all okay. The second is Emunah is Deveikus, that then you go into that higher state. Emunah ain't shaykh ela b'davar she'eino yodea tam. Now going back to the first thing. Emunah is only relevant by definition in something that intellectually you cannot prove to be true. That's when it's relevant. Fa'afo pikein etzel hamamin. But with even if you can't prove it's true, how do you know things are going to be? Maybe, someone said, I was at an issue with somebody, and someone said, I can't imagine it getting worse. And someone said, it's going to get better. He says, how do you know? Maybe it won't get better. How do you know? Everyone always says it's a very nice thing. Everything will turn out for the good. Everything's for your own good. Maybe it isn't. Because I have faith. I have faith because I believe it? No, because I sense it. Emunah, ein shaykh ela b'davar she'eino yodea tam. Emunah is defined on the threshold when you do not know something and you can't intellectually know it. Va'afal pikein etzel hamamin, but by the person that believes, hadavar galui ki'ilu ra'eh be'einav es hadavar shemamin ba'oi. Mechamas gadol amunas ashlema. Emunah is the capacity, and this is not, listen very carefully, this is not a visualization technique. It's that when you believe something so much, he says, it's like you can see it already with your eyes. He's not talking about, even though my friend's in hospital, God forbid, and he's sick and he's dying, I'm going to imagine him getting out of bed. That's a good thing to do, by the way. That's a form of prayer. That's a mechanism of energetic transformation energy to him. But he's saying that you sense it energetically so powerfully that is almost like it's already reality for you. You know God so potently that it's absolutely, you can see it, even though intellectually your mind still can't explain it. Sometimes people come to Israel and they have these incredible spiritual experiences, right? And they start keeping Shabbos and they're blowing out of their bodies. And then they come back, to America, wherever they're from, and the parents say, what are you doing? Why are you keeping Shabbos? What's that about? It's a stupid religious thing. And why are you keeping Shabbos? And they sit there sounding so stupid. They try to explain, it's good to have a day of rest. Why do you want to have a rest? We have a meditation day on Tuesday. Just chill out and go to the beach on Wednesday. Why do you? And they don't have the words. That means they've begun to access something so super conscious and experiencing it so directly that the intellect has not caught up. It's very interesting to know that. There's one of the top, I think this is Warren Buffett. There's a famous story about Warren Buffett that I read this article about him, and they said, what is the secret to your success? And he rambled on and on and on, for half an hour about, you watch the market this way, and you invest here, and you sell here, and that, and you strategy like that. And then the interviewer was walking out of the room, and his son said, everything he said is a load of garbage. He says, my father keels over with stomach cramps just before the market's about to crash. I thought that was such a profound insight to how consciousness works. And that's now known that a lot of his decisions are made by these back cramps or stomach cramps or something to that effect. But it's interesting that when you ask him, what is it? He doesn't want to tell you my stomach cramps or his back cramps. He wants to tell you, because he's a man, right? So he wants to tell you his big philosophical belief system, which rationalizes and explains his actions. Because that's his comfort zone. But it's an intuition which is embedded in the body. That's called the Emunah of the guf, Emunah Avarim, which we'll discuss shortly. So what we're saying here, what we're about to enter into a little, is it's something which is so real, this intuition, is such a high level, so high voltage, that you're already experiencing the direct reality of it. Now listen to the next level. This is Emes V'Emunah and Likutei Eitzes, Torah 32. Kisha'adam chazak ba'emunah ma'od. When a person strengthens this consciousness, strengthens this energy, strengthens this state, strengthens this electricity, this moichin, this chiyas, this shefa, zoicha achakach levoy el haseichel. Then afterwards, it comes down and forms and rewires the intellect. One of the most fundamental insights into all of human nature, which people fail to understand so consistently, how impactful this point is on all of humanity, is that we think that we believe in things because we are rational. We think we believe in things because they make sense. But we don't realize it's not our intellect that forms our beliefs, but our beliefs that form our intellect. Most people choose energetically what they want to believe. I like this. And then they create beliefs systems and intellectual systems to support that. Or they decide energetically, I don't like that, I don't want that. And then they gather and draw belief systems to support that. And then they argue their belief systems with each other as if they believe what they believe because of the belief system. And that's why people don't change each other's minds, and they go at each other all the time because here's the proof and here's the proof. I'll unravel that proof, I'll unravel your proof, I'll unravel your proof. But really it's not the information or the data which really compelled that person in the first place. Rav Nachman says something very profound, that when you access this higher state, then you can allow it to rewire your belief system. Your issue in life is in your belief systems. You invest in a job, you invest in a relationship, you invest in a political party, and then suddenly the job goes wrong, the relationship doesn't go as expected, the political party shifts and changes, and you can't handle that. You can't handle that, not because of what's happening, because of your expectation of what you wanted to happen, what you thought would happen, what you need to happen, and that creates massive resistance, which creates anxiety, which creates struggle, and then you have to rationalize and justify, or you have to change, and God forbid no one wants to change. So when you put all this together, what's happening is the world is too infinitely complex for us to understand with our intellect. God, the spirituality, is too genius and brilliant and infinitely complex to understand with our intellect. The fundamental rule of all of Torah is the more true and accurate and intellectually valid way to understand reality is to lead with intuition, is to lead with high insight. It's like if you try and crack the stock market, it's called chaos theory today. Chaos theory means that there's some phenomena, some systems that are so complex that if you use your limited monkey mind to try and understand the intellect, quote unquote, to understand the system, you'll never be able to. some people may be offended by this, but when men come to me complain about their wives, their wives are so chaotic, I always say, if you try and understand her with your mind, you'll never get her. She did this, but it contradicts this. She said this. She said she wants to go on Friday night, so let's go on Friday night. She said, I don't want to go on Friday night. What's wrong with this person? I said, well, if you're in your head, her complexity is sourced in a deeper place than your limited intellect. That's not her lacking. It's you're lacking of your capacity you're pulling on the wrong resource to try and understand the richness and the complex world around you. Therefore, with all the brilliance and revelation of science, science will never be able to comprehend what the Kabbalists were able to comprehend, because they drew on a different place. They were predictive of science in many different directions, and they made different applications thousands of years in advance, because they looked at the world from a deeper state. They allowed their intuition to see the world first, and they allowed their intuition to then explain to the intellect. Let's find an intellectual way to explain this phenomena. And the intellect that is formed by intuition has a much deeper grasp of reality than anything which is pure intellect alone, especially male intellect, which has a nature of negating intuition. Does anyone hear what I'm saying? So first there's a thing called the intuition, which is really called faith, that I sense it's all from God, I sense it's all good, in a general way, in a specific way. And then you can source that to its deeper source, and you can access that in an electric way, an electrified way, in a completely immersive way. And then what you do even more powerfully, then you re-bring up all those fallen beliefs, those false beliefs, those limited beliefs, those locked-in beliefs of ego, of pain, of fear, anxiety. And you know what you do? You let that light shift and replace that. Shift and replace and rewire the neural network. And then what you have is a faith-based intellectual map of reality. How does this connect to two unmitches?
No.
So in joke each week I have to say it, you have to laugh, and then we can ask the question. Yes?
I see that working if you're starting from a place that your intuition is telling you that there's something bigger than myself that I want to connect to it. But if your intuition is saying, that's nonsense, the world is what I see, the world is a terrible place, and the world is about pleasure and survival.
Rabbi Unger, the intuition is never telling you the world is a limited place and there's all those things. That's not your intuition. You have to put your hand, we're talking. That's not your intuition that tells you that.
Talking about me, talking about...
No, you're perfect. I'm perfect. We're talking about all the troubled people here in the audience. A person may say in conversation, I don't believe there's a higher consciousness guiding this reality. I don't believe there's greater meaning of life. I don't believe there's any concept called soul. I think people that do meditation are tripping out on some drugs, or they should be, they'll be more happy. And people that say God wants you to not turn on the light switch on Shabbos, I don't believe any of that at all. But that's not their intuition. That's their irrational, rational mind. Because I've seen enough people blow themselves up in the name of religion, because I've seen, some stoner dude that used to say he meditates. Because I've seen enough, religious people asking for tzedakah, and they think they're being religious, but they don't get a job and support themselves. So I've decided it's all a load of garbage. And I'm not comfortable with my own emotional reality anyway, or going deeper, and I negate people's emotional, spiritual feeling stuff. So you tell me that stuff's important. I say it's not important, and it's not even healthy, and the world will be a better place without that. That's not my intuition. That's my limited mindset.
Okay, but if that's where the person is,
yes,
how are they supposed to access faith?
That is a different question. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so that's a different question. How do you take a person stuck in their mind and show them there's much greater capacity in their consciousness than their limited mindset? That's why Hashem made LSD. That's a joke. I want you to know. I want you to know that's a joke. There are some people that would tie to that. And I think they haven't tasted, what's really in Hasidus and what's really beyond that. But there are people that have, experiences and all. Sometimes Hashem comes after you. Hashem knocks you out of your orbit. He takes you to the Kotel. He takes you to Rabbi Nachman's Kever. He takes you to Miran. He opens up something in Chabad or Rabbi Nachman or a Sefer. Or he takes you to a Shabbos somewhere and he takes you a trip to Israel. And suddenly you're gone out of you and you don't know how to explain that. And it can be very fracturing for some people because, no, I can't even believe that. And how will people judge me if I believe that? And all these kind of things. There's a person right now in line who's giving me all these kind of negative things. One of our cousins who's found us on Facebook. It's an honor to have him with us right now. Right? So that person is not using his intuition to spam us right now. So how do you open people up to this? I have a great idea. I have a whole seminar about this.
Really?
Yeah. And there's lots of wonderful things to do. One of the best ways to do this is what's called hishkata, is to silence the mind. Usually Hashem will bring these people to a critical point of pain or suffering where they're going to have to realize, until they can expand beyond their limited consciousness, they won't be able to help themselves, let alone others. And then you show them that if they can get beyond the limited level of consciousness that they defined as themselves, they can suddenly be in such a more expansive place that they never imagined possible. And then if they don't run away screaming, they realize that if they could harness that energy, there's tremendous healing, tremendous power, tremendous goodness that can come from it. This is like what we would say, in some places we would say this is, a new approach to Jewish outreach, which is rather to prove that there's Hashem in the reality. I'll give you an experience of Hashem in reality. But I have to get you out of the limited way you saw things to allow you to taste that. That's avodas Hashem, be'etzem. Listen very carefully. Did we answer your question?
Yes.
Excellent. Kol ma shemechazek es atzma b'emunah yoter. When a person strengthens their emunah a lot, afterwards they come to intellectual understanding. Why is this terrible thing happening to me? I close my eyes. I trace my sense of Emunah. I go back into that state. I blast out of my body into a deep understanding. Emunah is Deveikus. Emunah is Tefillah. Tefillah is Deveikus. And then I bring up those beliefs. It's not. Why is it happening to me? Because I really wanted this job. I thought this job would be fantastic to me. And then suddenly go, you know what? This sense of this job is not good for you. It was never good for you. And in fact, you dodged a bullet by getting out of this job. And the truth is you never even wanted to do this. Your parents wanted you to do this, but you were going to be happy doing something else. Yeah, but I need to please my parents. No, but you really don't, because it's going to make you miserable. And your parents should actually be happy when you're happy, when you get something else. And suddenly you're going, wow. And you're rewiring all those thoughts. This is what prayer is supposed to do to you 3 times a day. You rewire, wow, you know what? My parents will love me more if I had happiness with myself. And I never wanted that job. And I really saw that boss had issues anyway. And then suddenly that light is causing a rapid rewiring of your belief systems. So when you come out, suddenly you're not stressed about losing your job. You're like, you know what? Financially it's going to be a rough three months, but actually, Chazdei Hashem. Oh, you have to believe God is out there. It's like, no. It's not even believe God is out there. I directly experienced it. I'm not even frustrated about it right now. I don't even need to have faith because the faith mechanism already kicked in. I don't need the medicine to heal me because I took the spiritual vitamin C called faith. My immune system got so kicked into overdrive, I'm no longer sick. True faith makes religious faith redundant. That's a great line. I like that very much. I'm going to quit the class now while I'm ahead. True faith makes religious faith redundant. I have to believe in God because I just sense it, I saw it, it's real to me. Even those beliefs that I had that to overcome the negative situation, it's not even such a negative situation. I now see it, I feel fine, I feel great, I feel excited about this challenge. Let's go. Believe in God, God will help you, God controls everything. It's like I don't even have to tell myself that because I just experienced that. And therefore, sababa. So this is what he said. Adam chazak ba'emunah ma'od, very much strengthens into that consciousness. Then afterwards, then it comes back down into the seichel. The more you strengthen an emunah, the more clarity you get. That's a clarity that is informed not by reality, but by higher reality. And that's how we build our lower consciousness to resemble the higher consciousness. And that's what's called the makava, the oilam of bria, the world of intellect, which is it's supposed to be a seat. When your mind is aligned with spiritual truths, then your whole being then the ore of Atzilus, the light of higher consciousness, could flood down from Bia to Yetzirah to Asiya. It can flood down into beliefs, into emotions, into actions. And he says, then there's even higher things that you don't understand. And then you strengthen your Emunah more, and it comes back over and over again. And this is the line I want to pick up on right here. Yosef Emunah lahamin b'ma shenista mimeno ata ve'enu mevin b'seichel ad sheyizka lahavin gam elu hadavarim b'seichel v'chein la'olam. Aval, if you really want to achieve that, if you're really willing and ready to rewire your beliefs and your emotions and your physical resistance, sickness, pain is all lacking in faith. Physical sickness and pain is a chesaron in faith. On a body, energetic body level. That's what they teach us. That's what the Torah teaches us. If you want to get to that point, when your seichel then sees exactly the spiritual truth, then you have to really strengthen your Emunah, double strength. Until the Emunah comes down even into your body itself. That is a very deep, deep Torah. The Rebbe Rashab talks about this in Chabad. There's a skill set to leave your body. These are things we've been practicing for weeks. And you access the higher expanded consciousness. But that's not enough yet to rewire your beliefs. You have to know how to be mamshich the or, to be mamshich Deveikus, to draw that light back down until you can feel that light moving through your whole body. He says when you feel it moving through your body in your limbs itself, then it starts to have that powerful transformational effect. It's interesting what's in the Torah, huh? And that's how you come through, by feeling the light, he says explicitly, in the limbs. That's how you come to through a seichel built through faith, through intuition. And that seichel is a supernatural seichel because it intellectually understands and can explain supernatural intuitive knowledge. Questions? So just to add, coming back to what you said, Emunah hi bechinas koyach hagoydel v'koyach hatzomeach. Faith, he says by definition, is the power of growth and the power of development. V'hu bechinas arichas apayim, and it develops patience. Hayinu kishiyesh le'emunah b'shleimus, when you develop that fully expansive emunah, that expansive state that comes down from higher consciousness to emotional level and into a physical, tangible experience of light. Who godel v'tzomeach ba'avodaso yizbarach afilu im ya'avor alav ma ki ein yochol v'albaloi shum bilbul u'maneya. That anything that happens to you, says, no matter all the negative things that happen to you, you will have tremendous patience. You won't get anxious, you won't get worried, you won't get overwhelmed, because it's building your consciousness. He uses lashon like a flower, like a plant. It's growing your consciousness. It's developing your consciousness. Because it's come down to the core level of who you are. Yes?
I'm just wondering about the idea that the cat said that you're supposed to feel the light in your body.
Yes.
If you're not capable of doing that, what's like the highest?
I don't know what it means if you're not capable of doing it.
I can't feel the whole, like, I can feel like idea, but I can't feel.
Have you met people that can?
I don't know.
Well, that's a very important definition. Have you met people that can feel the light in their body? When we've done experiences in the past week, hands up if you've been here in the past weeks or done meditations with us. Great. Hands up if you felt light come into your body in some form. Hands up high. Keep your hands up high. Okay, look around the room. So that's a lot of people. So when you're trying to do something, the first thing you have to know is this possible? Is this real? Are people doing it? When we do an elevation seminar of a few hundred people, 90% of the people can do that. I'm not trying to make you feel worse. But first you need to know this is not something weird and abstract in a Hasidic book that was only for the Baal Shem Tov. This is a human experience. This is a universal experience. One. So that's exciting for you. That means, we're actually talking about something practical. We're talking about something, right? Number one. Number two is, the reason you can't experience it is Can you guess?
I never did.
No. Because nobody ever experiences something until they experience it. And you can quote me. So the people that hadn't experienced it didn't experience it until they experienced it. And once they experienced it, they experienced it. So you can't say the reason you haven't experienced it is because you haven't experienced it, because then you could experience it and then you would have experienced it. Great, now we've got that out of the way. So the reason you haven't experienced it is because there's something that's blocking it. And that's what we would call a kali, a clipper. Okay? That means wherever it comes to from your consciousness down in your body, you will find that people have problems with it, this kind of avoda, this kind of technique. It's because when it hits a part in the body which resists divinity, which resists revelation, because it's holding on to fear or ego or pain, it just kind of goes, no, you can't come here. And therefore, that's the point, at that threshold is where you have to do the work to take it down. When you work with people on that level, then you find that if you can guide the light all the way through, if you can release the blocks in the way, it's a traffic block. So wherever it gets to, wherever it does it, can you feel some of it in your body, some of it in your head, some of it? It dropped. Can you remember where you can feel it when you can't feel it?
I got my head.
Great. So then well, over time, what you do is you tune in. This is what the Swami say. You tune into why is it not going further, and you'll be amazed at the answers that come to you. It's a different discussion for a different time.
Okay, thank you.
Questions of what we've said so far? Yes.
Did you say that pain is a Hasidic or sickness is a Hasidic?
Yes. Yes. What? What? That's a question, or that's just a hand? This is,
I was just trying to clarify.
physical pain?
Physical pain
Sure.
or sickness, because I know that.
Yes. Both.
Okay.
There's a question there, or you're just saying okay? Because your mouth said okay, but your eyes went, what? Your eyes did what she did, and what? Yes.
I'm trying to think of an example in the Torah, but I guess there isn't. Like I don't know that the only physical pain, the only sickness I can think of is Moshe with the Saras, and that was
well, right. You're trying to disprove me, but all you can think of examples that prove what I'm saying is right. That must be very disappointing for your false belief that you really want to identify with pain. All the things, when the plague went out in the camp and Moshe put up the picture of the snake, right? And everyone had to look at the snake, and they looked up, and all the mystical sources say they saw the snake, but they had to look up, they had to see the copper snake, because they had to see it with the sky behind it. The sky is Shemayim. So they had to see that the cause of the sin, the snake, which is the lack of Emunah, is really a part of Hashem and the belief of that, and that's what healed them. That's what stopped it on the spot.
Oh, Adam Avinu had pain from the bris milah.
What's that?
Adam Avinu had pain from the bris milah. Is that a Chesar and Emunah?
Everything's a chesed and Emunah, yes.
So we can say that Adam Avinu had Chesar and Emunah.
Of course we say Avram Avinu has a chesed and Emunah. Can you give me an explicit pasuk that says Avram Avinu had a chesed and Emunah? Can anyone think of an explicit line from the Torah? Yes, sir.
Where you told Sarah to say that she was a sister.
Oh, okay. So that's also given, but there's a much more classical line where Hashem says, anyone know? What's that? Oh, that's Sarah. I think, but B'ma'edah, Hashem says, I'm going to take your people through a big journey, and I'm going to bring them out. And Avram says, how do I know? How do I know you're going to bring them out? And you know what I just say about that? The Jews went into Mitzrayim for 400 years because Avram Avinu did not have the Emunah. And that was a pagam in his soul, in our forefather's soul, that was therefore in all of us, that we all needed that purification. I mean, he has 10 tests. You don't have a test unless you have a challenge. The fact that he strengthened himself with Emunah was what overcame that. I mean, think of our four mothers. I always want to say it doesn't really make sense to say it that way, but you know, that didn't have children. Today you'd say, oh, there was something, sperm counts are down, or there's some kind of lacking, and then we have to give all these kind of scientific things that people go to hospitals and medicine for and takes right. So how was that fixed? It was fixed with tefillah. Tefillah is Emunah. Even we talked about this 2 classes ago, but even Rivka turned to Yitzhak and said, why didn't you daven? Rashi says, why didn't you daven? My father, that we've done this before. So with Yaakov and Rachel, Rachel says, well, why don't you daven, Yaakov, when having children? And he says, read the Rashi, it's very dramatic. He says, because the issue is not with me, the issue is with you. And then she needed an energetic drawing from Bilhah, who had 2 hays in the name, to get one of the hays for her, who's lacking a hay in the name. It's a very, very deep Torah. She needed to be energetically rebuilt with the power of Emunah, that she could actually give birth to that. I mean, it's a very deep, deep subject. Well, all the hands went up. What happened? Yes, at the back over there.
I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to see how this idea of faith is going to be relatable to other people, and that if somebody were to come up and say to me, why do you do what you do? And I say, I have Emunah because I've felt Hashem in my life. I've felt His influence in my life. And they'll say, okay, well that's great, but I haven't felt it in my life. So I feel like I'm having trouble trying to see how they can relate to that if they haven't actually experienced it.
That's true. I have experienced Hashem in my life. The person says, I haven't. Have you been to Israel? It's amazing. I haven't been to Israel. It's amazing. Okay, then we can't talk about it. I could tell you why it's amazing, how amazing it is, some of the amazing insights I had there, some of the journeys I had, some of the people I met. But that's not Israel. That's a description about Israel. And if I tell you about it enough, if you're my roommate in college and I'm talking about it, and some of those experiences, we rode on a camel in a desert, we went to the wall, we dived into a waterfall, we stood in Svat and there was a gorgeous village at sunset and there was a magic in the air. When you tell me about it enough, I start to really yearn for that because I feel I would love to experience something like that. Then I go, no, it's too much money, I don't want to be, it's a Jewish thing, and you go, okay, I don't, and then you tell me one, I go, wow, I hear it. But you telling me about God is not me knowing God. You proving God's existence does not mean that I have a relationship with God. You explaining that my mother is my mother because our DNA matches does not mean I know my mother loves me. So even if what you're saying is true, the inverse is not helpful. But if Emunah means I believe in it because God's looking after you constantly, God's with you, and because here's a proof that God created reality, because the Big Bang shows that the universe had an ultimate beginning, and even science says there were energetic forces before then, but still the possibility is really unlikely, and therefore there must be a God. You go, okay, technically speaking, there's probably some cause of the universe which is a higher consciousness. But it doesn't mean I'm living with God. And stupid, unhealthy people could buy that easily as well. But will they live more integrated, healthy, elevated lives because of that? When you take someone to Israel, all the little words you say about it vanishes. Because as the Balatanya says about the experience of Hashem creating the world and all the reality, all of the world is so small compared to the experience of Hashem. All the words, you write 1,000 things about what it's like to be in Israel, but when you get here, when you experience it, the experience is more than 1 billion, trillion, kajillion words. You hear what we're saying? So the greatest gift you can tell somebody is the experience of it. But you can't give over experience in words. It used to be, but we can't anymore. But what my words are doing are hinting to an opportunity that if you would choose to explore and embrace, could also be extraordinary for you. But it's not like me convincing you, even if you buy it, will be psychologically helpful in the long run. You hear it? I would like to do a small experiment, as small as we can do, as big as we can do, in 40 minutes together now. To see how Emunah helps us. Yes, one quick question.
Okay, I know that when, I don't know what happened exactly, but with Aristotle, when he gave over, he gave over and the whole converted at the mezuzah, like right there, in there. Do you remember this?
I don't remember Aristotle. He used to come. He hasn't come for a long time. And when he was giving the class, I was busy that day.
His nephew, who was it? The Jewish,
What's the story?
The story is that he's giving over talking about Hashem.
Right. Okay.
He's talking about Hashem, and he had such conviction that all the people who was...
Oh, this story. And they all converted. And he said more, and they all converted. That one.
So when you
Yes.
have something with such conviction, why doesn't it transfer over?
Oh, it does. We have a lot of classes about that online. When you listen to a class of a tzaddik or an elevated person with elevated consciousness, the words become transmissions of the consciousness. the mystics say, we've done classes about this, you can find them online, on classes called Primal Hasidus, that true educators and true teachers, spiritual educators, spiritual teachers, you go to their class and you feel totally transformed, but you sense that it's more than just the words they were saying. And because in Kabbalah and Hasidus, the words themselves are vessels that transmit consciousness. Imagine that a person said that, that you care for, I love you. But you sense, some person can say, I love you, and just like, oh, thanks. And some people say, I love you, and you feel electrified and energized by that. Because it's not the words, it's not even the intonation, it's not even the volume. Those things affect. I could say, I love you, but have no heart in it. What does it mean, heart? It means that somehow there's something conveyed. And we would say because of the tone, or because of the frequency. But if you're more and more sensitized, when you hear a great spiritual master give a class, you feel by being in the room, by being in the presence, that there's a transformation, there's an energy transference that takes place. And therefore, when a person speaks informational truth, and I've seen this a lot in my life, unfortunately in the Jewish world sometimes as well, let me tell you why Torah it matters, and let me give you proofs for things. The information can be true, but it leaves a person unaffected. But when a person is living with that expanded consciousness, they've purified themselves and they've dedicated themselves to truth with great integrity, and they're feeling that energy before they begin, then the words themselves become vessels that allow that energy, that consciousness to impact the student itself. And I've seen happen, we've talked about this class many times, that people will go to classes by Tzaddikim. There's one particular I know that gives incredible classes of Torahs, of revelations of Torahs at third meal. And I've brought people, including myself, to hear those classes. And he speaks in Yiddish. And I brought many people to the classes that do not understand Yiddish. And they say at the end of the day, I still don't want to leave because it was unbelievable. So that's an example to me, a study, if you will, that the consciousness within that individual is so potent that rides through the words, even if the person does not intellectually have the capacity, the Emunah, the intuition, can tune into that and be grown and built and transformed through that. You hear it? Yeah. So that's what we're hinting to, that's what we're discussing, that's what we're exploring. Now listen very carefully. You guys have energy to do this for half an hour? No. I appreciate your honesty. Great, we're done, and we can come back next week. We'll try it. I want everyone to grab a pen and paper right now. Now, the fact that this exercise may work for some people and not work for others, the fact that it goes for 30 minutes and not 3 hours, the fact that we haven't built up other resources and techniques is all irrelevant. We're just exploring and playing. When you have more time, we have more of a skill set we build together, you'll see the effects increase exponentially. I want you to write numbers 1, 2, 3 down the side of the page. If you do not have a pen, you don't have a paper, then you can do it in your mind, but I want you to do it very deliberately. That means imagine literally writing it in your mind. I want you to be very clear on what you're choosing. Number 1 is going to be a challenge that you faced in your past. A challenge that you faced in the past. Something that if you think back on, it brings up difficult feelings for you. Bet you have one. How do I know that? It's because I have a deep intuition. Hands up if you've got one. Okay. I want you to spend exactly 15 seconds thinking about it right now, bringing up some of it. Do not send yourself into a regressed, wounded state. Just get enough as a reference point. You guys too, okay? Guys and gals. Great. If you had to write on a scale between 1 to 10, if you had to choose a number, how intense is that feeling for you? Not now, but in general. How intense is the pain or anger or frustration from that experience? Pick a number between 1 and 10. Not now, what you feel now, and just like if you really went into it, if you really confronted it at an absolute level. I want you to write that number down at the end of, first I want you to write next to 1, I want you to write a reference point, that thing that happened with John in the past when I was 15, whatever that is. And next to that, I want you to write the number. How intense is that negative thing? Not right now, but in general, how would you say, how intense is that thing still in your life? Hands up when you got a number. Okay? So help me out here. We don't know what the situation is. We're just talking random numbers, okay? Hands up if your number is between 1 to 5. Okay? Hands up if your number is between 5 to 8. Hands up if your number is above 8. Okay, so you're the winner because you're the biggest number. Fine. So I want everyone just to be aware of what that number is, okay? Great. I want you to now write something for number 2. The biggest issue you have in your life today, which if you had more Emunah would be great. Something you're going through right now. The toughest thing you're going through right now in your life. That is just frustrating, painful, gets you angry, it makes you feel overwhelmed. Write a few words just so you know exactly what it is. Be as specific as possible with it. If you're all doing this at home, give me a heart or a like right now. Let's see who out there is doing this with us in real time. We'd love to know. Even in the future, you can drop one in right about now as well. Okay, hands up if you've got the second one. Something happening in real time right now in your life. Fine. Okay, write down the number. Spend a few seconds thinking about it. Just to bring it up a little bit. Oh, it's that and that thing, and he said that, and she did that, and that's what happened there, and then they turned around, and then I can't believe, and what's going to be, because if that doesn't work out, then yeah. Okay, it's enough just to get a reference point. Thanks for those likes and those hearts to see you really doing it. Great, I want you to choose a number. How intense of an Emunah block is this for you? How much stuff does it bring up for you right now in general? How intense is this? Right now, number 2, if you're doing this with us, I want you to write the number in the box and press enter right now over here. Let's see your number. Take a number, write it at the end of that sentence. Put it in a circle. Okay. Let's see your numbers right now. Put it, enter into the box and press enter. Let's see everyone's numbers. Hands up if your numbers between 1 to 5. Hands up your numbers between 5 to 8. Hands up the number is 8 to 10. Fine. Hands up if the present one is bigger than the past one. Hands up if the past one's bigger than the present one. Fine. Interesting. Fine. Number 3, the future. A problem that you know right now is an issue, but one day you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to be with that? And if you let your mind go there, it just brings up a lot of stuff. If you're a parent, you have at least one kid, so that one's for sure covered over the next 100 years. So I want you to write down next to number 3, so this big thing in the future is not yet an issue, but it's going to be. I want you to start thinking about it a little, just to bring it up as an emotional reference point. Now pick a number. If you really dived into it, how intense would that be? Thank you for sharing, Devorah. Thank you for sharing, Shelley. Thank you for sharing, Rachamim. We miss you. No one here to keep your seat warm. Okay, when you have the number for number 3, let's see your numbers for number 3. Hands up if it's between 1 to 5. Okay, hands up if it's between 5 to 8. Hands up if it's 8 to 10. Okay. So I want you to put your pens out of your hand. I want you to put that either, if you think you can generally remember that, what those 3 things were, then you don't need the book at all. We'll come back to it shortly. And what we're going to do is basically a very simple activity tonight. And there's many complex, rich, amazing things we can do with this activity, but we're going to do the most elemental version of it right now. We're going to access Emunah. Emunah as a state of consciousness. Emunah as in sourcing within the nefesh elokai within us, the godly soul that all of us have within us. And when we get to that place from that state, as much as we can, as close as we can, then what we're going to do is bring our concerns up to that light. And we're going to invite the light down to those concerns. We're going to let God in. And the interesting thing about true faith is, if you don't believe in God, it doesn't matter. Because belief in God is just an intellectual phenomenon. Maybe you've heard enough proofs. Maybe you haven't heard enough proofs. Maybe you've heard enough disproofs. It doesn't matter. But you all have an infinite soul. You may believe that you have a hand. You may not believe you have a hand. The scientists may convince you that you do not actually have a hand. But at the end of the day, you go, well, that's fascinating, but you've just slapped yourself on the face with a hand. And that hand is real. So the mystics all teach us that we have a soul which right now is directly experiencing infinite light. You don't even intellectually have to believe that's true to experience it. Doesn't mean everyone here right now will be able to do it, but if you give us enough time, over a few weeks, most of you will be able to get there, as we've done before. So all we're simply going to do is we're going to go up to experience that place. And when we get to that place, we're going to allow that light to come all the way down into our thoughts, into our heart, and into our body as much as we can. And you may not get all the way there. You may only get some of the way there. You may only get a little bit of the way there. And whatever you're going to do, you're going to go, hey, this is where I'm getting up to tonight, and that's totally fine. That's totally speak. It's totally enough. And when you're in that place, all we're going to do is invite the light into each one of these. And we're going to see the world. We're going to see the challenge through the eyes of faith. We're going to see our challenges through the eyes of faith. And that means the eyes of the soul. This is not a religious action. This is not a faith-based action. It's a mechanism of consciousness. That the issues in your life are not the issues. They're the anxiety you feel about the issues. And how would it be different if you could shift that anxiety? I'm not promising that in 30 minutes. But it's amazing, with that mechanism, you have more time with people and you build their skill set, how comprehensively effective this is. And what a game changer that can be, because faith is a game changer. So that's the experiment. Any practical only questions before we begin this experiment? Yes?
Can I just have to go a drop slower, because it takes me a few seconds to get.
I'm going to go at a general pace that's good for people, and I can't go up, so I'm just going at the pace I'm going. But what pace I'm going is irrelevant to the pace that you go. You could go a drop slower, right? That means you say, I don't want to move to that next step right now. I'm going to move to at my own time. Incredible free will you have. An empowered, independent person. Okay? Hands up if you've meditated before. Hands up if you've contacted this quiet inner place of light within you before. Okay? Great. Hands up if you've never done that before. Fine. God still loves you. So we're just playing. You're up to doing something weird, you can handle that? It's a weird thing, that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. This is how we do it. We use something what we call in elevation, the hachana. The hachana is 4 basic steps. Hachana just means preparation. Preparation of consciousness to do an avoda of Emunah. That's what we're doing. So basically it's very, very simple, my friends. If some of you grab some of these sheets, one of these pages, you'll see there's a few different things. There's 10 parts of the hachana, and we always do 4 basic ones. The first one is we're basically going to calm and still your mind. There's many cool, sophisticated ways, but I'm just going to use breathing on cycles of 5, which I'm going to talk you through, simply because it works fast and gets you into it, and you don't have to understand anything or practice anything. So first, we're going to do the following thing. I want everyone just to practice each step with me fast, and we're going to put them all together. You ready? So here we go. You can do this. It's fun and weird. Just play with me. I want everyone to take a deep inhale right now. And now completely exhale. All the way out now. All the way out. And now hold it. 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to count. No, I'm going to count. You're going to inhale to 5. Go. 1. Completely inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way in and hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. And deep exhale. Go. Push all the way out. Exhale it all. 3, 4, 5. Now hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now inhale. Inhale all the way in, deep, deep, and hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now exhale. Beautiful. Open your eyes. That was not complex at all. Okay? You were able to do that. By the way, if you feel you can't breathe, I'm only up to 3, then you know what you should do? You should breathe. Be a rebel and just take a nice breath. Okay? God still loves you and you'll do fine. Great. So that's the first phase. We're going to do that for a couple of minutes just to really clear our mind. There's deeper things you can do. As the Baal Shem Tov says, when you inhale, you can imagine the light of Hashem coming into you. When you exhale, you can imagine returning all of creation back up to Hashem. And you can do that over and over again. But if that's too weird for you and you don't like that stuff, or I'm not good at visualization, then just simply do the breathing. That's all. Whatever you do, just relax and enjoy the process. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do when we start. The second is called Sulam Aliyah. We're going to climb a ladder. A very basic, traditional meditation. That prayer is climbing a ladder. I want you to imagine the following thing. There's a ladder, and the ladder has 10 steps. And the feet of the ladder, as it says in the Torah, is on the ground. And the top of the ladder reaches all the way to heaven. Heaven is not a place where fat, naked babies with wings on fly around. Heaven, in our understanding, the experiential understanding, is a place of infinite light, of love, of peace, of goodness, of connection. So what you're going to do is the following thing. You're going to be on the ground, and you're going to count the first step. So you just go 1, 1, 1. You count each number 3 times. And after you count each number 3 times, then you just imagine yourself stepping up, elevating up to the next rung. What worked for you? You said you found a good one that worked for you. Just going up? Is that what you said? Just going up, right? You just imagine... Was that? An elevator. Great. You just elevate up, so to speak. When you get to the next step, you just go 2, 2, 2. Count each number 3 times and up to 3. 3, 3, 3. You guys getting the drift of this? And each time, after you count the next number, before you go up to the next rung, just imagine yourself stepping up to the next level. And then count the next number 3 times and go up higher and higher. And as you go up higher and higher, I just want you to see that each step up you feel a little lighter, more connected to love, to peace, to connection, to light. Right? And visualize it or don't visualize it. If you like to see incredible energy and light, that helps you, use it. If you don't like that stuff, then simply just say, I'm going higher, and now I'm going higher. And now that's all. Let's try that for 3 rungs now. Close your eyes right now. Here you are in your body and your thoughts. You're cold, you're tired, you're hungry, you're whatever you are. And that's number 1. So start that right now. Each number 3 times, imagine going to the next one. Try that now. Allow your body to relax. Feel happy doing it. Don't expect anything cosmic or weird. It's just a simple, easy, beautiful process. Enjoy it. Higher and lighter, higher and lighter. Allow yourself to relax and enjoy it. Beautiful, it's tangible. Great. Take a breath and open your eyes. Just testing it. Hands up if you felt a little lighter by the end of that. No, test was like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Great, that's interesting. Number 3, epic holy love. It's been a while since we've done this one. Very simple. I want you to choose one moment in life that you remember where you felt tremendous love for someone or from someone. Tremendous love. You felt tremendously loved, or you loved someone tremendously. Think of one example, one memory. If you have one, say yes. Yes. Great. I want you to feel one moment, remember one moment in your life where you felt tremendous holiness, if you've ever merited that. Could be at a Western Wall, could be at a Shabbos somewhere, could be connected to a great spiritual master, reading a holy work. If your only resource is high on ayahuasca or something like that, tremendous, a drug or something, use it as a resource. If that's what you've got, use it. One clear memory of feeling real holiness. When you have one, say yes. Yes. Great. Number 3, awe. A moment in nature where you felt something epic and beautiful in nature. It could be you in a desert and you saw 100 kajillion stars. Could be watching an incredible sunset on a mountaintop somewhere. Something that struck you as just extraordinary. Choose a very clear, vivid, particular memory. When you have one, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is you're going to watch each one for about 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. And you're going to visualize it. What does it look like? What were the sounds? What were the smells and sights? You're going to describe it to yourself and watch it. And after about 7, 8 seconds, you're going to move to the next one. First the love, then the holiness. Who was there? What did it feel like? Where were you? What were the sights and sounds? After 7, 8, 9 seconds, you're going to jump to nature. You're going to watch the nature, how epic and holy, how beautiful the stars, the colors, the smells. What did it feel like in my body? What was that sense of awe? Then you're going to go back to love. Love, holiness, nature. Love, holiness, nature. Epic, holy love. Epic, holy love. You ready? Close your eyes, just try it now. And allow yourself to feel the feelings. If you're doing it with us online, give us a yes and begin. If you're starting to feel and resonate with some of those memories, say yes.
Yes.
Great, wonderful. Open your eyes. The last stage, we're about to put all this together, is just to imagine that Hashem's light is on top of you. This is straight out of Sefer Charedim, the Baal Shem Tov. Imagine that the light of the infinite presence of Hashem, the Shekhinah, is above you, and that light is pouring down around you, and it's filling you up on the inside and pouring down around you like a makif, like an or panimi, an external light and internal light. So you're just immersed in that light. You don't need to do it, I'll talk you through it. This is what we're going to do, my friends. You've got those 3 things. Remember the one of the past. Remember the one of the past? The challenge from the past? Remember the challenge of the present? Remember the challenge of the future? We're going to now take 5 minutes to enter into a deep state of Deveikus, as deep as possible, of infinite connection to the light within us. We're going to do cycles of breathing of 5. We're going to climb up the ladder to 10. By the way, if you get to 10 on the ladder, keep going higher. Go to 11. The ladder goes higher and higher. Then we're going to go epic holy love around and around those memories. And then we're going to imagine that we're surrounded by the light's entering into us. Once we get there, I'm going to talk you through it. And we're going to bring up the 3 elements. We're going to try and expose them to Hashem and see if He shifts us into our body and into our heart and into our mind. You ready? Before we do, I want everyone to stand up for 1 second. It's late and you're tired, but this is why you're here. So I want you to shake out your body. I'll close your eyes. Get energy in your body. As much as you want to break through, as much as you want to experience something, invest that in moving your body. Not even for 1 second, not for 2 seconds, but big movements and sustain them. If you can't do anything, move your fingers around, wiggle them around. Wiggle them around, but don't stop. You do that for 5 seconds, it feels silly and you want to stop, but that's when you keep going, okay? That brings chiyus and ratzon, chiyus and ratzon. Keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. That's great, that's great. Now we're going to, for 30 seconds, I want you to give yourself to get energy. Do whatever you have to do to get energy. The energy will be channeled in a holy way in a second. Commit to being fully present, fully here, fully engaged, fully energized. Decide that you want to be and you absolutely can be. Okay, you absolutely can be. Great, have a seat. If you're absolutely ready to do this, say yes. No, you say that energy won't do it. You have to decide with all your heart and say it loudly and clearly. If you're absolutely ready to do this, say yes.
Yes.
No, you can do it better. Women, you can do better. You ready? You are woman, here you are. If you're ready to do this, say yes.
Yes.
If you're ready to do this, say yes.
Yes.
Fine, you ready? Close your eyes, thank you. Sit up straight in your chair, uncross your arms and your legs. Be in an alert position. Keep your back as straight as possible and comfortable. Don't lean in a position where you're likely to fall asleep. You can do just great. There's a heater on at the back. There's a heater on over there if you want to sit next to the heaters. So here we go. I want everyone to decide right now that we're giving this over to Hashem. We don't know how to do this. Hashem, we're doing everything we can right now to find a way to come close to you, to find a way to get closer to Tzaddikim, to find a way to get closer to Emunah. That's what we're working on right now. We don't have the skill set, we're not smart enough, we're not deep enough, but Hashem, you can open us, all you can take is there. Not just individuals, but as a group of at least people in the room, of all these tremendous people around the world doing it online. May Hashem open up all our hearts and souls to know and experience these teachings at the deepest level. Okay? I want everyone to take a deep inhale right now. And we're going to exhale it all the way out now. Exhale it all the way out. And then hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly, deeply inhale. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale all the way out. Push it out. 4, 5. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale the light out. Back to its source. 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale the light. Draw it in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Relax your body. Relax your body. And go. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enjoy the process and relax into it. 4, 5. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're doing wonderful. Come back to normal breathing. I want you to know whatever you're up to, whatever's happening, it's totally fine. You can totally do this. You don't need anything from each one. If you feel calmer, that's great. If you've relaxed, that's great. If you don't feel those things, it's also totally fine. Be happy wherever you're up to, and you'll totally be able to do it. You're going to climb the Sulam Aliyah, climb the ladder right now. The highest part of the ladder is in the most spiritually elevated state of peace, of love, of truth, of connection, of warmth, of compassion, of infinite light, of forgiveness, of joy, of blessing, of compassion, and expansiveness. But we're on the ground right now. We're going to climb a rung, count each number 3 times slowly, and then just feel ourselves being elevated and moving up to the next rung. And then we climb that rung 3 times slowly, then go higher. And each time imagine the lower self falling away and the higher light and the higher self opening. There's nothing you have to do. It's not complex. Don't even visualize things if you don't like to. Just keep counting and stepping higher. Counting, stepping higher. If you get to 10, keep going higher and higher. Begin that process slowly with love and joy now. Let the lower side fall away. The light, the love, the expansiveness. Revealed. It's easy and simple. Don't try. Allow it just to happen. Higher and higher. Higher and higher. Okay, just feel whatever you're feeling, resonate with it, be grateful and accept it. Now we're beginning epic holy love. 7, 8, 9 seconds of the loving memory, 7, 8, 9 seconds of the holy experience and memory, 7, 8, 9 seconds of awe and nature, of epic nature. Go around each one, visualize, smell, sight, sound, colors. Allow your heart to really feel and connect with each one. And channel this energy of light and peace into strong, beautiful, holy feelings of epic holy love. Begin that now, round and round. Colors, details, emotion. It's Rakshas, it's lavas. Allow yourself to feel loved. Allow yourself to feel awe. Allow yourself to feel Kedusha, holiness. I want you to take that feeling right now, let them come together, the epic holy love. The source of all those feelings is the infinite light above your head right now. That's what's coming to you. Choose right now to feel love even more powerfully, or even more powerfully. Holiness even more powerfully. We're going to ask Hashem to feel tremendous love within our whole being on the count of 3. Choose it and believe that it will come to you, and it will. 1, 2, 3, now. Open up your hands to receive that energy. I want you to imagine this tremendous light of incredible love and expansiveness above your head, and it starts pouring down around you like you're sitting in a waterfall of light. And it's swirling around you, and you're seeing yourself within that light, and you feel it on your skin, on your back, on your front, on your face. Tremendous light of love. It's just lifting you up and lifting you off, surrounding you. Imagination tells our neshama, our souls, what to tune into, what energy to tune into. So this feeling that we're feeling is an objectively real feeling. The imagination is a cue for the soul. See that light becoming powerful, turning around you, surrounding you, lifting you up, turning around you, round and round. See it swerve around you, feel its flow and its energy. The water of light, that love of infinite light, of peace, of release is just pouring down on you. Allow yourself to feel it. Tilt your head back in to experience it. Tilt your head back to open your chest to experience it. On the count of 3, I want you to imagine that we're going to share this experience with everyone else in the room, that you're going to receive from their energy and give to their energy. I want you to realize we're all connected, we're all here, we're all trying together. We're going to choose to connect our souls together right now, to feel and connect, to share this energy with everyone else. How do we do that? It doesn't make sense to the intellect, but it makes sense to Emunah. Choose that we're connected and you'll experience the connection. On the count of 3, I want you to choose that we're connected, to be connected to everyone, and to instantly believe and accept that you are. That's all. And be open to receive any energy from that. On the count of 3, choose and believe. Connected together. 1, 2, 3. Choose and believe now. Allow yourself to suddenly gain insight or wisdom and energy from everyone else in the room. Let's strengthen that even more. Strengthen it, and by doing it again. On the count of 3, we're going to choose to connect everyone else's soul in the room, to bind our souls together, and everyone else watching this online in the present and the future. Expanding our energetic connection on Das, as Pashtas or Das, throughout the world to all of us. If that doesn't make sense, how can I do that? Then we just have faith, we choose it, and we believe that it is. We open ourselves to experience that on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We're connected. Choose and believe it now. If you can feel that, say yes. Great. Now see that light coming down from above into you, and take that love and that awe and that holiness, and see those memories and increase that feeling in your heart. And as you do that, some of that light, that water that's surrounding you is on the count of 3 going to come into your head and cleanse out your mind. 1, 2, 3. Starts pouring into your mind, into your head. Incredible light of wisdom, of insight. It washes out all the destructive old beliefs and thoughts. And your mind and your head feel expansive and light-filled with deep knowledge and wisdom. Deep knowledge and wisdom. Deep intuition and clarity. Deep intuition and clarity. On the count of 3, it's going to come down to the heart with feelings of love, of holiness and awe. 1, 2, 3. See that light penetrate now to the level of the heart and expand throughout the heart. The light penetrate to the heart, expand throughout the heart. Let it wash out all those old feelings, destructive feelings, heavy feelings, blocked feelings. May you only know love and holiness and awe. Love and holiness and awe. Help everyone else in the room on the count of 3. Choose to connect your mind and heart and soul to all of them. To give and receive. On the count of 3. Choose and believe that you are. 1, 2, 3, now. Open up your heart and mind to receive that. Go. If you can feel that a little, say yes. Yes. Great. On the count of 3, it's going to go from the heart to the whole of the body. The heart pumps the blood to the body. The heart pumps the light through all the veins, to all your evarim, to all of the limbs. You can totally do this. You were born to do this. On the count of 3, it's going to bleed out of the heart to the whole body. 1, 2, 3. Choose and believe it. Go. Beautiful. Beautiful. It comes out to the whole of the room, to the whole of this chabur, this group watching this around the world. Now increase the light from the top of your head. It's around you. It's your mind. It's your heart. It's to your limbs. It's pumping through your body. Every vein, every hair, every cell is being created by Hashem right now. It's now full of light and energy, of healing, of peace. Light, energy, healing, peace. Light, energy, healing, peace. Let us increase the light, increase the Deveikus. On the count of 3, we're going to ask Hashem right now that on the count of 3, He should massively increase the energy and light within us. Believe that He will, choose that He will, believe that He did, and it will happen. It will just increase massively. You ready? Believe it can happen. 1, 2, 3. Keep going. You can do it. Keep going. You can do it. You can do it. Share that light with everyone in the room, everyone watching, and receive it as well from all of them. Share it and receive it. We're one united consciousness, and we hold the space for all of this light to come into us. Now I want you to think of which of the exercises we did before, climbing the ladder, or the love and the awe. Whichever one worked for you, do that right now and increase the light with it. and higher. Beautiful. Every cell of your body is being created right now by Hashem. Every hair, every cell, every sense, every image in your mind is given to you by Hashem right now. He's immediately interacting with you by generating your experience of existence right now. He's present completely with you right now, with love and compassion, peace, freedom, and expansiveness. Love, compassion, love, compassion, peace, freedom, peace, freedom, expansiveness. Fall into the infinite. Release into the infinite. Be aware that Hashem loves you infinitely throughout your whole body, your heart, and your mind. If you have a line to say to Him right now, to the infinite light, say it. Something from your heart. It's your platform. State of Emunah. I want you to remember now the first challenge from your past that you chose. I want you to now remember it, bring it up to your mind like an offering, like a korban. Take it in your hands, hold it in your hands, hold that challenge in your hands. Put your hands in front of you like you're holding it, and lift it up to the light. Ask Hashem, what was the good? What was the gift? What was the spark? What was the good? The gift of the spark? Any image or sense you have of that memory, I want you to imagine holding your light, your hands out to that memory, and that light comes into your consciousness, into your heart, into your hands, and shine that on the memory. If you remember a certain situation, see Hashem's light moving through that memory. Moving through it, peace and love. Moving past those people, moving in that situation. Shining from your heart onto it. See it and feel it expand and release. See it and feel it expand and release. Use your hands like you're shining onto it. There's people there, shine light and love unto them, infinite light from Hashem. They're just a vessel. Any pain or anxiety you carry from that situation, sadness, ego, allow the light to come back around and completely surround that fear, that pain, that anxiety. Imagine it swarming around, swirling around. If you can feel that a little, say yes.
Yes.
Take where you feel it in your body with your two hands, draw it out of your body and throw it up, lift it up to the light. Hashem, you heal this, you hold this, you release this. Hashem, show me with your infinite wisdom the reason, the purpose, the meaning, the gift. Increase the light within you on the count of 3. You have enough light to hold that. Increase the infinite light to hold that. 1, 2, 3. Choose that the light can increase and believe it. 1, 2, 3. Now. Allow that memory, that feeling, that pain to dissolve and melt in the light. Dissolve and melt into the light. See the memories surrounded by light, surrounded by peace, surrounded by insight. On the count of 3, I want you to ask Hashem right now, give me one insight to the gift I got from that. So how I can come closer to you from that. What I have to learn from that. On the count of 3, ask Him and be open to an answer. 1, 2, 3. got an answer, explore it. If you didn't get an answer, form a clear question and ask Hashem. 1, 2, 3. He's going to answer you completely and utterly. 1, 2, 3. If you got an answer, an insight, say yes.
Yes.
On a scale between 1 to 10, what number does that past memory feel like now in heaviness? If it's gone down, it's closer to 1. Get a very clear number. If the number has gone down, say yes.
Yes.
If the number's gone down significantly, say yes. Great. Let's move on to the second one. Number 2, something happening in your present. Start visualizing and seeing. Before you do, now strengthen an Emunah. Climb the ladder, use the love and the awe, increase that energy right now. Just choose and believe that Hashem loves you. Draw that even more down into you right now. On the count of 3, draw from everybody else's energy and give to them as well. We're connected together and the light grows even stronger within us on the count of 3. Choose it and believe that it does. 1, 2, 3, go. Wonderful. That increased light, bring up the second one. Take it in your 2 hands, bring it up to the light, literally lift it up, literally lift it up. See those memories, those people right now. What's the things you're most worried about right now? And you're worried all those things you imagine could happen, may happen. Imagine Hashem's light running through it, shifting through it, with wisdom and clarity and insight. Let it melt and dissolve. Melt and dissolve. See it clearly resolving for good. Feel it clearly resolving for good. See the situation, literally see light move through it. Move your hands to help the light. See the light coming from your soul, through your head, through your heart, and shine it through your hands onto that situation, those people, that time, that place. Strengthen the light within you. 1, 2, 3. Those people, that time, that place. Surround it with light. Spin light around it, around and around and around and around. Use any tool that you've seen work in the last 10 minutes. Go around and around right now. Add it, shift it, trust it. Lift it higher up to Hashem right now. See it melt and release, melt and release. All that situation, all the stuff about it. Wonderful. Let's gain the insight from it. Hashem, we're going to ask right now, what's the main gift within this situation? What's the main revelation and insight I can get from it? What is the gift I can take from this? What's going to happen that I know I'm safe? That you're with me? What can I learn? How can I grow from this? You're going to ask him now, clearly. Go ask him. He's going to reveal to you a complete, easy answer. It's going to pop into your head. You're going to know it on the count of 3. Trust it and believe it. 1, 2, 3. If you need to do it again, ask again, receive again. Strengthen the light. Always strengthen the light. 1, 2, 3. Ask the question. If you got an answer, say yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Take a number. Has it gone down? The faith gone up? If the stress has gone down, you're worrying, concerned about it, the chassaron of Emunah. What number is this out of 10? Get a very clear number. If the number's gone down, say yes. If the number's gone down significantly, say yes. Take a moment right now just to thank Hashem for that experience. Thank Hashem for that blessing. Take 10 seconds now to say whatever else you want to say to Hashem and enjoy that light within you. Then we're going to take a breath and open our eyes. Enjoy the last few seconds now. When we open our eyes, the light does not need to go away. Hashem is right with us. Our intuition of faith, of seeing goodness in everything, of seeing the gift and blessing of everything, of knowing and understanding everything. Bechinas Zikaron, remembering Hashem and everything, stays with us and is now much more empowered and strengthened than it ever was before. We're going to take it into our awakened state and into our lives. When you're ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes. What you're feeling now is called Emunah. That you're back here with us all, but you feel that light, that state, that knowledge. Hands up if that was interesting for you, what happened in there. Hands up if you're able to connect to the light or the divinity in a powerful, real way. Okay, that is Emunah, is Deveikus. Hands up if you're able to feel a real shift in your concerns about these issues. Hands up high. Okay, wonderful, amazing. Did anyone feel that through bringing up their concerns, their doubts, their beliefs into the light, that they felt it shift or release or change? Yes? Most people getting yes, a couple of people no. Great, there's practice there, that's wonderful. Anyone care to share of the last 60 seconds together, any of that experience, what it was like for them to be able to do that? Yes, sir.
Made me feel worse.
Made you feel worse?
I failed this one.
You failed this one. In what way? It was hard to do?
No, it wasn't hard to do. It's just, as I thought of each of these challenges, it's that I usually have just accepted and just roll with it and
right.
hope that one day I'll see the good in it.
Right.
All I did is remember all the pain and
right.
it upset me.
It upset you. Were you able to get any release from it?
Very little.
Very little. Hands up if you were able to get release from it. Oh, okay, well look at that. Okay. So most people were, and therefore that's what happens is we have to increase the light and we have to increase some mechanisms to get released from it. Right? So there's a avodas to do to achieve that. The fact that most of you are able to do that is wonderful, and if you weren't, have patience with yourself. That's part of the process and practice. If you generally feel better right now than you did before, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Emunah is the capacity to source from that place. That's L'malam and Eteva, that's Nisim, that's Eretz Yisrael, that's all these bechinas. It's a sense that you feel, but when the pain or fear or frustration or imagery is coming to you, you go to that place and then you draw that down into the fear, into the anxiety and the imagery, and you allow yourself to reframe yourself, and therefore it changes your seichel, it changes your understanding of things. When you asked Hashem to give you a reason why it happened, say yes if you got an answer. Say, if you got a new perspective and a new insight which was interesting, say yes. So do you see how Emunah can inform seichel? Your belief and understanding, you got that? That's pretty remarkable. That's what prayer is supposed to be 3 times a day. It's that you step out of the challenges of the world and you get a reframe, you redraw on Emunah, you draw on faith, you experience Hashem, you experience the unity, you experience the love of all things, you bring that down to the feelings, to the beliefs, to the challenges, to the situation, and then you have a new you, confronting a new situation with new resources and new energy. And that is what it means to live with Emunah. That is a lot to consider. You should try that sometime, and to be continued. Thank you.